A ball was launched into the air and its height above the ground was recorded each second as shown in the table below. Based on these statistics, which statement is a valid conclusion? So for these types of questions, I kind of like to draw it out. So we see that there is a ball launched into the air. So let's just draw that out. There is a ball. It's going to go up into the air and it's going to come back down. And we see that the height when it comes back is the same above the ground. So this is 11 feet. This is also 11 feet. Now let's look at the answer choices. Okay, number 1, the ball lands on the ground at exactly 4 seconds. Okay, so at 4 seconds, we see that the height is 11 feet, and 11 feet is obviously not 0, so the ground would be somewhere here, and at 4 seconds, it's at 11 feet, so it's not number 1. Number 2, the ball reaches a maximum height of 11 feet. We know that the maximum height is not 11 feet because at 2 seconds, it's at 75 feet, which is higher than 11, so it's not 2. Then the ball was launched from a height of 0 feet. So we know that's not true because at 0 seconds, it was 11 feet. So at 0 seconds, it was already 11 feet above the ground. So it's not choice 3. And the ball reaches a maximum height at 2 seconds. 75 is greater than any of these numbers, so that's the maximum height. So that means it's choice 4. Next question. A tour bus can seat at most 48 passengers. An adult ticket costs $18 and a child ticket costs $12. The bus company must collect at least $650 to make a profit. If A represents the number of adult tickets sold and C represents the number of child tickets sold, which system of inequalities models this situation if they make a profit? Okay, so for these types of questions, it's kind of lengthy, and I like to highlight some of the key factors. So here, a tour bus can seat at most 48 passengers. Adult tickets cost $18, child $12, and they have to collect at least $650 to make a profit. A is adults and C is the number of childs. And we're looking for a system of inequality. Okay, so I like to kind of just do it myself and then see what matches on. So A, the adult tickets plus C, there can be at most 48 passengers. So that means that there can't be 49, there can't be 50, but there can be 48 and there can be 47 and so on. So that means it's going to be A plus C is less than or equal to 48. So that's the first inequality. And you could kind of even start looking at your answer choices already. So you know it's not going to be 1, you know it's not going to be 3 because of this. It's not an equal to, it's just less than. Then the next one, we know that 18 is for adults, and we know that 12 is for children, and they need to make at least $650. So they have to make $650 or more. So that means this value has to be greater than or equal to $650. And the answer choice that matches this is going to be choice number 2. Okay, number 3, which equation is always true? So for this, I just like to do all of them. Let's start with the first one. X squared times x cubed is equal to x to the 5th. This is true because when you multiply variables with exponents, you just add the exponent. So it's going to be x2 plus 3, which is equal to x to the 5th. So we're just going to put a check by that. Then the next one, let's just do number 3, negative z squared is equal to z squared. That is not true because if there was, let's just pretend like z is 4. If we make 4 squared is equal to 4 squared, this would be 16 to the negative. So it's going to be negative 16 is equal to 16, which is not true. So, for example, if this was in parentheses, then it would be true. But it's not in parentheses, so it's not true. Okay, so we're going to cross this one out. Then let's just do 7a times 7b is equal to 7ab. That is not true because 7a plus b is equal to 7ab. That's not true. It has to be, you have to add the exponents, not multiply them. And then this one is, I guess, it could be kind of tricky, but you know that, you know what this is. 3 squared is just 9 times 3x. Because they don't have the same base, you can't use them. So this is going to be the answer. and that's not equal to this, so we're going to cross it out, and it's going to be choice 1. Number 4, the expression is equivalent to. So for this one, I just like to rewrite it and draw it out. Okay, so for this one, the number 1 trick, I guess, in this question is the -2. You have to remember to distribute the -2 into each of them. So -2 times x squared, -2x squared. Then this is a negative. Negative times negative is positive, so it's going to be plus 4x. And negative times positive is negative, so -2 times 1 is going to be -2. Then for this one, there is an imaginary 1, so it's just going to be the same thing. So now, a good strategy to use for these types of questions is to use different shapes for each pair. So we have an x squared pair, which is going to be -2x squared and positive 3x squared. We have positive 4x squared, we have a positive 3x squared, and we have a regular -2 and a -5. So -2x squared plus 3x is just going to be x squared. 4x plus 3x is going to be 7x, and -2 minus 5 is going to be -7. So which of these answer choices is this? It's the 4th one. Okay, which sum is irrational? So what I like to do for this is use a calculator, but I think for this question, you can even just do it regularly. We know that, for example, let's just do these ones. So square root of 4 is 2, -2 plus 1 over 3. So for this, if you don't know it, you might need a calculator, but it's going to be 30, and 30 divided by 3 is going to be 10, so it's going to be, it's going to be 8. So that's rational, so it's not this one. Then square root of 25 is 5 plus 8, that's going to be 10.5, because 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, so that's rational. Then 7 plus, if you don't know your square roots, I think my hint to you, my helpful hint, is just to know them, because it's going to make it easier. Like, the square root of 121 is 11, so it's going to be 3 times 11, which is 33, and this is equal to 40, so it's not going to be choice 4, so it's going to be choice 1, but let's just check choice 1. -2 times the square root of 12. You can even use our calculator for that, because the square root of 12 is going to be 3.46411016. That's going to be irrational. And obviously this is 10, so we're not even going to look at this one. So this makes this whole expression irrational. So it's going to be choice 1. Okay, the solution to this. So this one you just simply solve it, and I like to, again, just draw it out and then solve it. So the first step to this is just to get this whole thing by itself. So to get that by itself, you just have to do -2 on both sides, and you get 4x minus 5 is equal to 12. Now you have to get this by itself, and that you do that by doing both, multiplying by 3 on both sides. So this crosses out the 3, and this is going to be 4x minus 5 is equal to 36. So from here, you can kind of do two things. You could either distribute the 4, or you can just simply divide the 4 on both sides. If you divide the 4 on both sides, then you just get x minus 5 is equal to 9, plus 5 plus 5, you get x is equal to 14. And if you distribute it, you obviously get the same answer, and we got x is equal to 14, so it's going to be choice 2. On an island, a rare breed of rabbit is doubled its population each month for 2 years. What type of function best models the increase in the population at the end of 2 years? So we know that it's an increase, so it cannot be choice 4, it cannot be choice 2, because they are decreases. And it is an exponential growth because it's doubled. So if it was linear, it would be 2, for example, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. But if it's doubled and the starting population is 2, it would be 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So there is growth that's exponential. Number 8, what is the degree of the polynomial? So the degree of the polynomial is the highest exponent, essentially. And the highest exponent in this polynomial is this, the 3, 4x cubed. So it's going to be 3. Number 9, the zeros of the function f(x) are. So this is a calculator question. You just go to your graphing calculator and solve it. So let's go do that. This is the TI-84 plus CE, which is similar to the TI-84s in general. So what you do is you just go to y equals 2 and you put it in. You don't even have to distribute it because it's going to do it for you. Okay, so if you just plug it in and you go to second graph, that's going to give you the table. And zeros are what x values makes y 0. So as we see here, it's going to be -2, 0, and 5. So which of these answer choices is -2, 0, and 5? Number 2. Okay, what is the y-intercept of a line that passes through points -1, 5, and 2, -1? So y-intercept is your b value in y is equal to mx plus b. So to do this, you could do this a few ways, but I'm just going to do it this way. You're going to find the slope. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So -1 minus 5 divided by, I just put it in parentheses, but 2 minus -1. -1 minus 5 is -6, divided by 2 minus -1, which is 2 plus 1, which is equal to 3. This is equal to -2. Now you get y is equal to -2x plus b. So we have 2 points on the line, so you could choose any points to plug in, but I'm just going to do these ones, x and y. So it's going to be -1 is equal to -2 times 2 plus b. -2 times 2 is -4. So now you add 4 to both sides, and you get 3 is equal to b. So the answer choice is 3. This is kind of a challenging problem, but that's pretty much what you just have to do for it. Nancy has just been hired for her first job. Her company gives her 4 choices for how she can collect her annual salary over the first 8 years of employment. Each function below represents the 4 choices she has for her annual salary, where t represents the number of years she is hired. Okay, which plan should she choose to have the highest salary? Oh, okay. So this is just a logic kind of trying to make sense. So t represents the number of years after she's hired. She wants to know what plan to choose to have in the 8th year. So t is going to equal to 8. And you just pretty much, you could just do everything and you can just make t 8 and you get the answer and you just see which one's the largest. And that's pretty much how you do it. So you can just pause the video right now to do it, and we'll come back to share our answers. Okay, so these are the answers that I got, and as we see, the highest one is this one, which is choice 1. Number 12, the third term in a sequence is 25 and the fifth term is 625. What number could be the common ratio of the sequence? Okay, so for this one, I know that there's specific ways to do sequences, but for me, the way that I like to do them is you have your third term, which is 25, and your fifth term is 65. So a common ratio between them has to be something that takes you from this to this with a fourth term in between. So we have the third term is 25. The fourth term, I just put it because we know that it's there. And the fifth term is 625. So we know that it's increasing with each term, so it can't be the first 2 options. Then we know that we could just try 25 times 25, and 25 times 25 is just going to lead us to 625. But there's a fourth term, so it can't be 25, so it's going to be choice 2. Now, if you actually wanted to try it, you could do... If you wanted to actually try it, you could do 25 times 5, which is 125, times 5, which is going to lead to 625. So it works in the system, so it's going to be choice number 2. Number 13, the box plot summarizes the data for the amount of snowfall in inches during the winter of 2021 for 12 locations in eastern New York. Oh, in western New York, I'm sorry. What is the interquartile range? Interquartile range is quadrant 3 minus quadrant 1. So, hi guys, I'm just editing the video and I noticed that I made a mistake. It's not quadrant 3 minus quadrant 1, it's quartile 3 minus quartile 1. So, interquartile range is quartile 3 minus quartile 1. Q3 is this value and Q1 is this value. So, for this, you kind of need to, I guess, figure out what this is, and it's going to be 110, because what falls between all of these is a value of 10. And we have 110 minus 60 is equal to 50. So it's going to be choice 2. 4 quadratic functions are represented below. Okay, you just kind of look at them, but let's look at the question. Which function has the smallest minimum value? Okay, so the minimum value for, let's just do the two easy ones, which is number 2 and number 4. The number 2, the value is negative 4. Here, the value is negative 5. So we could already cross. Hey guys, another mistake. I'm sorry, but it's not negative 5, it's negative 2, because it's the x value, not the y value. Choice 2, because negative 5 is smaller. Now, for these ones, you plug them into the calculator, and you could go to second graph and see, and you can actually just go to graph and see that there's going to be a value, but it's easier to just use a table, and you can see that it's going to be negative 7. So for this one, it's negative 7, so we could already cross out choice 4. It's between this one and this one. Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's going to be, this is negative 7. Okay, now for this one, you could also go in the calculator and graph it. Okay, then you can go to second graph, and your minimal value is negative 6. So we know that it's going to be choice 1, because negative 7 is the smallest out of all these 4. For this one, personally, I just like to plug it in, but you usually see that the sequences, their first term, which is going to be this one, is usually the first term. So we're going to cross out choice 1 and choice 3. And now if we plug it in, for example, let's try it with this one. So this is the second term, so it's going to be a2 is equal to negative 2 plus negative 3 times 2 minus 1, which is 1. Negative 2 plus negative 3 is equal to negative 5, so that works. Just in case, I'm going to do the next one. A3 is equal to negative 2 plus negative 3 times 3 minus 1 is 2, and it's going to be negative 6 plus negative 2, which is negative 8. So that works. Just in case, let's try this one. A2 is equal to negative 2 plus 3 times 2 minus 1, which is 1. This is going to be negative 2 plus 3, which is equal to 1. So it's not going to be this one. This one works. What I recommend is to just try, there might be 2 that make sense for just one term, but you want to try at least 2 terms to make sure that your answer is correct. The dot plot below shows the number of goals Jessica scored in each lacrosse game last season. Which statement about the dot plot is correct? For the median, you just want to find the median because you see that there's median in at least 3 of these answer choices. So we're going to do, it's going to just be the simple thing to find the simple way to find the median is you just go by this. So it's 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, and it's going to be in between this. 3 plus 2 divided by 2 is equal to 2.5. So the median is 2.5. Now, for the mean, you want to just add everything together. And you go on a calculator, you add 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, and you don't even have to add the zeros. And there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 50 divided by 20 is equal to 2.5. So the mean is going to be 2.5. So mode is actually the number where the data is the greatest. So in this case, the mode is 3 because most of the value falls under 3. So the mode is 3. Now we have our 3 M's, or the 3 things that the answer choices are talking about. So is mean greater than mode? Is 2.5 greater than 3? No. Is mode equal to mean? Is 3 equal to 2.5? No. Is 2.5 greater than 2.5? No. 2.5 is equal to 2.5. So it's going to be choice 2. Students in Miss Smith's algebra class were asked to describe the graph of this compared to the graph of gx compared to the graph of f of x. Which student is correct? So for this, I like to graph it. Okay, so you just want to put it in together and you're going to just graph them. So the red one is y2 and the blue one is y1. So red one is wider than the blue one. So let's just look at the answer choices. They're talking about wider and narrower. So we know that the graph of gx, which is our y1, is narrower than y2. y2 is the red one is wider. So it's not going to be choice. Well, it is going to be either choice 2 or choice 4 because g of x is narrower, it's not wider. Then, shifted. Now, for the rule is, if it's minus 3, that means shift to the right. If it's plus 3, that means shift to the left. So this one is minus 3, so that means it's going to be shift to the right. So that means it's choice 4. Number 18. One Saturday, Dave took a long bike ride. The graph below shows his trip. What was the average rate of change in miles per hour on his trip? Okay, so rate of change it means the slope. So the rate of change is from where he started to where he finished. He started at 0, 0. He finished, well, let's find it. So there's 4 spaces between here, so that means that it goes by 0.25. So 0.25, and this is the center of 5.5. Same thing here. It's going to be 4 spaces, and the center is 55. So he finished at 5.5, comma 55. So slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is going to be 55 minus 0 over x2 is going to be 5.5 minus 0. 55 over 5.5 is equal to 10, and it's going to be choice 1. Okay, which expression is equivalent to the following expression? So, for these ones, I just like to copy it down and solve it. So it's going to be x minus 5. Okay, for this one, you just factor it out. So this is x. We're going to do x first, so it's going to be 2x squared plus 7x. Now the negative 5, negative 10. Minus 35. And now, this is kind of a guess a trick because it's not minus x plus 5. It's minus 1 because there's always this invisible 1. So it's going to be minus x minus 5. So now you're going to solve it, and like I do with my little trick, this one's by itself. This one has 3. This one has 2. So it's going to be 2x squared. 7x plus, 7x minus 10x is going to be negative 3x. Then negative 35 minus 5 is going to be negative 40 or minus 40. And the answer choice okay, wait 1 second. I just realized I forgot about this one. This is important to not forget because it's there. So 7x minus 10x is negative 3. Minus x is negative 4, so it's going to be 2x minus 4x. So now we can look at which one matches on to what, and it's going to be choice number 4, because that is what that matches on to. We're almost done here, guys. Number 20, the function f x and g of x are graphed on the set below. What is the solution to f of x and g of x? So this is pretty much asking which value of x makes it that the value of y is equivalent for f of x and for g of x. So we could just look at the graph here, and we see they intersect here and they intersect right over here. The point for this is 1, negative 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 1, negative 3, and this one is going to be 5, 5. So when x is equal to 1 and when x is equal to 5, they are equal to each other. So that means that the answer choice is going to be choice number 1. When babysitting, Nicole charges an hourly rate and an additional charge for gas. She uses the function C of h to determine how much to charge for babysitting. The constant term of this function represents. So she charges an hourly rate and she charges an additional rate for gas. So rate means it's going to be the number of hours times what she's making. So in this case, she's making $6 an hour because each hour, h is the hour, each hour she makes $6. So it's not going to be hourly rate because the hourly rate is 6. And 5 is the constant because the constant is the number that doesn't have any variables with it. So the constant here is just the additional charge for the gas. So it's not going to be this one because we figured out the hourly rate is 6. The variable is the letter, which is h. And the total she earns is C of h. That's the total cost that she makes for the whole babysitter, including the charge for gas and the hourly rate. So it's choice 1. Number 22. When solved for x in terms of a, the solution to the equation is x in terms of a, which means that we're basically solving for x. So if we solve for x, we're just going to... So what I'm going to do here is minus 5, 3x minus 12 is equal to ax. Now, I want to have the x's on the same side, so we're going to do minus 3x. So I have negative 12 is equal to ax minus 3x. So you might ask, what do we do here? So there is an x on this one and this one. So what we can do is we can put an x outside and we get a minus 3 is equal to negative 12. Because if we factor that out, it's going to be ax minus 3x. It's the same thing, but we're leaving the x, so it's just in one place. Now, we could just do over a minus 3 over a minus 3. So you might see that that is not an actual answer, but what we can do is we can just multiply the whole thing by negative 1 on both sides, because negative 1 divided by negative 1 is equal to just 1. And we get 12 over negative a plus 3, which is the same thing as 12 over 3 minus a. And that is number 2. So I know it's kind of confusing, but also like the little step at the end, you could have made it differently where you had plus 12 plus 12, so you have 3x minus ax is equal to 12. And then, sorry, 12. And then you just do the same thing with this whole thing. And that's going to make it easier. Wade van Niekerk, a runner from South Africa, ran 400 meters in 43.03 seconds to set a world record. Which calculation would determine his average speed in miles per hour? Okay, so first let's just set up our first one. It's going to be 400 meters, and we're going to have 43.03 seconds. So we want to go to... So first we're going to just do the meter to mile here, because in the answer choices, that's the first one that comes. So we, even just by looking, we can see that it can't be this one, because this doesn't cancel out the meter. It cannot be this one because this also doesn't cancel out the meter. The meter has to be at the bottom because they cancel out, for example, like in these situations. Now we just have to see which one is true. Both of these are the same, so we already know that this is the same. That's a kind of life hack for this type of question, for multiple choice questions at least. And here you just have to know that seconds and seconds, this way they don't cancel out. This way they cancel out. So now everything cancels out and your last thing is going to be miles per hour because that's what's left. So this is going to be choice number 3, which is the only one that this is mile per hour is what happens and you want to find mile per hour. Last question of the multiple choice section. Which function has a domain of all real numbers and a range greater than or equal to 3? So, all real numbers means that it cannot be irrational. And range has to be greater than or equal to 3. Another thing to know is that domain means x and range means y. So y has to be greater than or equal to 3. You can just graph them all out to see where y is not greater than 3 and y is or equal to, and the only one where that makes sense for all the real numbers is going to be choice 2.